sitting back and letting this happen to us. I think that this is a huge challenge for Americans to not let them be defined this way, and to actually stand up and do something that can not only better our own life, but better the world.
In America, we are fed propaganda, and if you want to know what's happening in the world, go outside of the U.S. media, because it's owned by 4 corporations. One of them is this one. And you know what? Go outside of the country to find out what's going on in our own country, because it's frightening. I do believe that it is the first time in history that fire has ever melted steel. I do believe that it defies physics for the World Trade Center Tower 7, Building 7, which collapsed in on itself. It is impossible for a building to fall the way it fell without explosives being involved. World Trade Center 7. World Trader 1 and 2 got hit by planes. 7, miraculously, the first time in history, steel was melted by fire. It is physically impossible.
And who do you think is responsible for that?
I have no idea. But to say that we don't know that it imploded and it was an implosion and a demolition is beyond ignorant. Look at the films, get a physics expert here from Yale, from Harvard, pick the school. It defies reason.
Why is it that when you ask any question about 9/11, you're immediately attacked?
I'm not attacking you.
You're not, but no, I'm speaking in general. I'm not saying you guys, but I've watched people get attacked. People have their credibility attacked. My problem is I look at it and I go, how can 2 planes knock down 3 buildings?
I don't believe in that boogeyman shit. They ain't doing shit. I don't believe in that shit. Well, if somebody want to do some shit to you, they doing it. Them motherfuckers ain't talking about it, sending you tapes. I'm gonna fuck you up when I see you. I'm from the projects. I know danger. I don't feel no danger from that shit.
You don't think Bin Laden knocked down the World Trade Center?
Absolutely not.
Come on.
I don't.
That's where you lose. That doesn't mean you're right.
That don't mean
that doesn't mean you're right.
It don't mean that it's not valid neither. Science, highly educated people in all areas of science have spoken on the fishiness around that whole 911 theory. It's like the magic bullet and all that shit.
And what happened?
No individual can save a nation. If a nation is sleepwalking and doesn't wake up, then it will never be safe. But an individual can be a catalyst, can be a cause to wake them up.
And you have somebody, George Tenet, acknowledging in his book that he knew that the administration was deceiving the American people into a situation that is murdering young men and women from this country and others, that George Tenet and Dick Cheney and Condoleezza Rice and George Bush et al. Should be in fucking jail.
We've had such poor leadership for so long in our country that we've got to get back to some strong leadership that believe in the same principles we do. I have a 700-acre ranch in Texas, and I have a lot of guns on my ranch. I don't use them for hunting. I'm not a hunter. But the thing is, it's for protection.
Most people do not want to spend thousands of dollars a year for heating, cooling, electricity, and their vehicles. And they don't need to, because the amount of energy that's available through these systems is boundless. Well, I can cite you all kinds of people who have had tens of millions of dollars, upwards near 100 million, and they were served their head on a platter and have never been able to get their technologies out. And you can get this close to having them do it, and they will decapitate it. And who are the they? There will be the financial interests that are feeding at the trough. It's a multi-tens of billions of dollars a year industry that do not want, really, a solution to that problem, because the problem is so lucrative. There was one guy who approached me once and said, oh, you know, I can help put in around $5 million in seed money so these things can really get developed that you've discovered. And I'd say, yeah, great. But he wanted, it was like, I call it vulture capital, not venture capital. He wanted, you know, like 60-70% interest and to have control this. I said, well, that's, I don't care if he had $5 billion, it wouldn't happen. He was shocked. And he said, why not? That's how it works. I said, that's not how this works. I said, well, let me answer your question with a question. You put $5 million into this, and it's not enough, but say $10 million, and we get this team put together, and we have half a dozen of these things beta tested, ready to go, what you're talking about, distributed. Suddenly someone surfaces who offers you, for your $10 million placement, $100 billion. What would you do? He said, oh, I'm a businessman, I'd sell. I said, no, you're a money whore. And there's a difference between a money whore and a bit. You've just sold out the future of Earth and a multi-trillion-dollar industry. But more importantly, the future of the Earth and saving the Earth's environment and eliminating the whole way we're living and devouring the biosphere for a few pieces of silver. And so this kind of active interference in the natural progression of technologies that deal with over-unity effects is very well documented. It is not some kind of theory. And so we feel that the only way to change that is to get millions of people involved and supporting this kind of technology, and also to have the developments announced in real time so that the public is participating. So it's not done secretively. It's not done in a way that would empower the interests that want to keep these things secret and suppressed because too many people would know about it. What the Orion Project is designed to do is to create that synergy, like a campus, where we can pull all of these brilliant physicists and engineers and inventors together, but then also provide them with the technical support, fabricating support, materials management, security, logistics, and bring in the right folks when you get stuck on a certain issue to consult and solve the problem. Many of people can bring these technologies 80% or 90% or 95%. They can't bring it all the way into development because they lack knowledge of optical switching, for example, or pulsed electronic systems. Once we have either identified or developed one of these technologies, it can be massively disclosed and promulgated and then eventually put into widespread application. And the Orion Project really is the first time that we have had an opportunity so that the average person can contribute relatively small amounts of funding to this kind of R&D or high-tech research and development effort and support this kind of research. If you have, and this is just sort of a quick list of the resources that are in our network, senior ambassadors with major countries who are ready to step forward with us on the stage of the National Press Club or at the National Science Foundation as these things are unveiled to the public massively. And you have people who have been Nobel Prize winners, and then you have people who are very well known in society in the pop culture and what have you. You pull all these elements together and you move this forward. Because if there are hundreds of millions of people who know about the system or systems, it's not going to be the tree that fell in the woods that no one heard. I think that now people have realized the Earth has been crying, the ice caps are melting, the ice fields are melting in the Himalayas, oceans are dying. There are enough people in enough places in society who get it. They actually get the fact that we're in a crisis. Now, they should have known that in the 60s.